Hi everyone, I'm Teresa from Sewn Together. I'm based in Brisbane, Australia, and this quick little video is just some little tips and tricks for putting together and how to prepare itty bitty teeny hexagons. So I'm using the Eppiflex Hexagons today, little tiny ones. So these ones are 3/8 of an inch. So each side measurement is 3/8 of an inch. But scarily enough, they do actually come in a smaller size as well, which is 1/4 inch, but I think this is going to test my patience. So I'm going to give you some little tips and tricks about how I work with these, and I'm going to work through a little project over the next couple of videos. So let me swap cameras and we'll talk about our supplies. Here we go. Okay, so I've got my little supplies pack here, including a computer keyboard, which you don't need. So I have got in here, I have got my Epiflex templates. So I've got the 3/8 of an inch, just taken some of them out to show you. So the 3/8 of an inch pack, they come in a pack of 100. So they're readily available in Australia. And there is also supplies in both the UK and the US if you are interested, so you can contact your local craft store. Alternatively, I do have them for sale on sewntogether.com.au. I'll put the link in the comments below. And I do post internationally as well. So unfortunately, we don't have any time frames as to how long postage may take, but certainly I can pop them in as tracked postage so you can get them anywhere in the world. So these are our little 3/8 of an inch hexie templates. Now, if you've not used Epiflex before, what makes them unique, I'm going to pop it down there. They are transparent mylar. Okay. Yeah. So they're a patented product. They are a heat-proof mylar. They have little splits in them, so you can bend them and fold them when you need to fold your pieces for stitching, which is what we need to do. They are reusable. So I like to glue baste. So after I've glue basted and removed them, I just give them a little wash with some dishwashing liquid and dry them on just a kitchen cloth, and they are ready to go again. You can also pop them in a laundry bag and pop them into your washing machine. But generally I find that I want to reuse them straight away, so I give them a clean. You can certainly thread baste with them. You wouldn't be able to thread baste through them, but you can thread baste around them if you're only thread basting the back of your fabric. So they're not just for glue basting. You can iron them as well. So after I've completed my project, what I generally do is I will iron the back of my project. It gets all my seam allowances the direction that I want, but it also helps loosen the glue a little as well. And sometimes I'll pop a bit of spray starch on, particularly if I'm applying it to the background. So that's our little mylar. Now the other thing about the mylar is it is 100% recyclable. Now it is likely that your local recycling facility will need to be pointed out, and you will need to notify them what it is. So don't just pop it in your regular recycling bin. You can either return it to Epiflex directly, or you can return it to me, and I will take it directly to our recycling facility and tell them what it is, and they will know exactly where it's got to go so that it's the right product. But it is 100% recyclable, which is great. Okay, so there we go. You can see it really closely, and it's tiny, isn't it? Okay, so that's our Epiflex templates. I like to glue baste, so I've got my glue stick, got a pair of scissors, and I've got some little offcuts of fabric here. And I absolutely love these fabrics. These are little offcuts. I think they're Bonnie and Camille fabric. They are leftovers from another project. And I've got a few 5-inch squares, but I've got some little tiny offcuts as well. So I'm going to plan on using those. Some of them I probably won't use. For example, this one, it's going to be completely lost definition-wise when I do a little 3/8 of an inch hexie. So you can see that you're not going to have any indication of how pretty that fabric is. It's going to be a loss. So I'm going to discard that one. I'm going to pop these all aside. Just going to keep a couple out. And I'm actually going to work with my smaller pieces. I've got a red, got a yellow, got a navy spot. Pop those out. Oh, we've got a little green here. A nice variety of colours and shapes and textures. So I will dig through and find my smaller pieces first, because that's the idea of using up with these little pieces. And I'm going to start preparing. So let's move. Oh, one other thing that I have got. This is my cute little kit from Astronan. So what it is it's a book cover and a project bag, and it is pre-cut felt. So it comes with all the embellishments. So it comes with the little, there we go. So it comes with the little clip that you need, and the little leather clip and snap that you need to complete it. It has a little mesh pocket inside, and also has a couple of other felt projects as well. So once I've got a few prepared, I'm going to open this up and show you, because I'm obviously only going to do a small project with these tiny hexagons, and I think I'm going to use it to embellish this little fabulous little Astronan project bag. So I'll put that aside for the moment, and let's get some little hexies done. So one thing when you're working with teeny tiny hexies like this is that you absolutely need to be very, very sparing with your glue. So that is the biggest tip that I can give you, is be really, really sparing, and try not to put the glue anywhere near the edge of the hexie. We only want it on our seam allowance. We don't want it where we're going to be stitching. So look at my glue pen, it's faded. So we've just been through quite a hot summer here in Queensland, hot and wet summer, and so the blue in my glue pen has faded out a little bit, which is fine. It just indicates to me that the glue pen is starting to dry out a little bit, and so it's probably going to be a bit sticky. That's okay. If you find that your glue pens get sticky, just pop them in the fridge, and they will soon firm up again. But this is perfectly okay to use. Okay, so I've got my fabric, and I'm going to just put a little dot of glue. I'm going to pop my template on. Pop that. Now I have to say, the only downside I've ever found with Eppiflex templates is the fact that they are clear. So the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. The advantages of them being clear means that we can actually focus cut or fussy cut our fabrics, but the hard thing is they don't show up on the camera very well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these, and I'm going to cut with certainly less than a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to cut it so that it's about between 1/8 and 1/4. Now it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, let's tidy that up a little bit, and I'll take that up to the camera. There we go. You can see that if you look at it, compare it to my fingernail there, it's less than a 1/4 inch, but it's more than 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so you can see I've got my little seam allowance there, and just tiny little offcuts of fabric here. Now I love these design mats to work on, but the fabric does stick to them, so it's really hard at times to get rid of the offcuts. So if I pop that up towards the middle there, you can see, get my hair out of the way. Okay, so when we come to glue, no swipes of glue. No, you will never get your templates out. What I'm going to do is just a little dot on each corner. So I placed a little dot on that corner of the fabric and a little dot on that corner of the fabric, and my dots of glue are well away from the edge of the template. Just going to fold that over. Now you may find with little tiny templates like this that it's actually easier to hold it in your hand to do it. So just a tiny dot of glue on that corner and that corner of my fabric, and fold it over and give it a little press. Again, just tiniest little dots, and all we are aiming to do is just to hold the fabric in place until we stitch it. If partway through the stitching the template is almost ready to fall out, that's the perfect option. So I want just the tiniest bit of glue. Now, of course, if you prefer to thread baste, that's quite okay. I have no issues with thread basting. I find that I end up with a knot generally, so I prefer to glue baste because that's what works for me. And the wonderful thing about English paper piecing and patchwork is that you work with whatever method works for you. I know some people like to use the starch method, where you starch the edge of your fabric and you fold it down. I think on these little tiny ones that might be a little bit too intense and might be a little bit too hard to stitch through. The starch, you'd have to be really careful with the amount of starch, otherwise it's going to be hard to stitch through with these tiny templates. Now this side's not sticking particularly well, so I'm just adding another smidge of glue and just one tiny little smidge of glue on the outside. So that's my little templates. Now, traditionally, I don't iron before I stitch, but because I am being ever so sparing with the glue and I want the absolute minimal amount of glue. Ooh, here we go. Where are we? I'm not very good at focusing. There we go. Go back a bit. There we go. Focus. There we go. Eeny, teeny, tiny hexie. Go back a bit. There we go. It's hard to get it under the camera. Get my lefts and rights sorted. There we go. So that's my eeny, teeny, tiny hexagon. And you're going to prepare as many as you want, exactly the same way. Now, if you were working with a larger hexagon, you would probably put maybe 2 or 3 little dots of glue along your seam allowance edge, as opposed to just the little dots in the corner. But of course, you can just pop the dots in the corner and give it a little press and it will hold down. But the big thing when you're glue basting is with your glue, less is more every single time, because remember, we've got to get those templates out. So we absolutely want to use the minimal amount of glue that you can. So what we've got, and I've got a few others prepared here, is we've got a lovely little stash of teeny tiny hexagons. There we go. Look at those. So I'm going to continue preparing lots of little hexagons. I'm not quite sure if I will do 100. I think that's a little bit ambitious for me. Just going to pop open. This is our gorgeous little pack from Astronan, a little book cover. So it comes with, you can see your little clip and closure. You come with a little felt pad, which you can which has got your needle in it for hand stitching, but of course it's felt, so you can actually recycle it and attach it to the inside if you want to use this as a stitching book. I'm actually going to use it I'm not going to put a notebook in it, I'm going to use it as a project bag. I've got some elastic here that we can add into to make like a little divider, so you can put your pens or rulers or anything like that in it. And then you've got some pins in there, nice thick pins that you can put your project together. So if we take this off, what we've got is we have got our outside cover, we've got an additional large pocket, And then we've got this great pre-made mesh pocket with 2 zips on it. And then on this side, we've got a small pocket with 2 little card holders. So I am thinking that I probably will use, maybe on the inside pockets, I will put maybe like a little row of hexagons along the edge. I'm not quite sure. There we go. So maybe I can have that as like an inside pocket, and I may stitch the elastic along here. So I've got a pocket, but I've also got an area to pop my glue pen and scissors and things like that in there. I've got my little mesh bag for the project itself. And then if I have a look at the outside cover, I think what I'll probably do is create some sort of cute little rosette. So, of course, these won't be how they will be arranged, but let me just pop that down. That's the same as that one. So maybe I might do some little small rosettes and just kind of randomly stitch them on. Or maybe I'll just continue working around that section and create a larger rosette to pop in the center. But first off, our first step is actually to prepare our hexagons. And as you prepare them, you can actually have a play with how you think you might like to use them. These itty bitty little hexagons are also great if you're wanting to make a little brooch. So what you can do is you can stitch them together, remove your templates, and then you can actually just attach it to a little piece of felt, and then you've got with a little pin on the back, and you can stitch it on. If you're wanting to make it a little bit firmer for a little brooch, you can actually leave the templates in there and just attach the felt to it as well. So there's lots of little uses. You could do a few rounds, or you could use a slightly larger template. You can make some little coasters. So there's lots of options for you. So it really is quite a simple process to work with the little templates. The big thing to remember is that you really just need to make sure that you use such a minimal amount of glue. So I'm going to continue preparing my templates, and we'll go from there, and then I'll come back in another video and show you some ideas for putting them together, but also some tips and tricks for stitching the little tiny hexagons together. So we'll see you next time. Bye.